All right, in the chat, can you let me know that just to make sure you can hear me and you can see the presentation? Yeah, if someone could just let me know. Yes, awesome. Michelle, you made it. I'm glad. All right, ladies, thank you so much for taking time away from your family, especially in the summer, to be here. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeanette Maseda. I'm a certified life coach. And this is my passion, teaching you what I'm going to teach you, and the tool that I'm giving you today is what I breathe, what I live for, and what I teach every day. So I'm excited, and I hope that you leave here with so much awareness, that you leave here feeling so powerful and in control of your life, and that you leave here knowing that you're going to create amazing results in your life. Don't let this just be something, another webinar that you attend, but it's something that I want you to start implementing in your life. And we spend so much time, so much time planning for everyone, right? Our kids, our families, our jobs. And in this hour, it's about putting you back into the schedule. So, yes, are you guys excited for you to finally start doing something for you despite having kids, despite working, despite maybe having a lot on your schedule? Because I don't want this workshop just to be about summer. I want you to put yourself in the calendar throughout your motherhood journey. We are not going to stop living until our kids are 18 and they go away to college. Okay? I promise you that you can be an awesome mom and create a lot of things for yourself and take care of you. So, this is for you if you can't remember the last time that you consistently were doing things for you. Can you remember what you've been consistent on for you? If you're kind of just feeling tired of being exhausted, being overwhelmed, living stressed, if you haven't planned anything yet for you this summer, you're in the right place. And I can't wait. I can't wait. So here's what we're going to go over. So by the end of this webinar, I want you to understand why it feels so hard to put yourself on the calendar. And I promise you, it's not what you think it is. I want you to reconnect with what you actually want this summer, right? Because I know I've talked to so many of you, like, I got the whole calendar set for my kids. Every moment is already planned, right? But where are you? I'm going to teach you a simple mindset tool to help you feel more control of your time, of your energy. Um, we're going to choose one thing that you want to create this summer for you. And it doesn't have to be this big thing, ladies. I don't want you to think that this is another thing to do on your to-do list. It can be really, really simple. And I'm going to show you the framework that I use to create things in my life, including this workshop, like my step-to-step thing on how to get things done. And I want you to feel more at peace. I want you to feel grounded. I want you to feel more intentional and more included in the summer. So let me know, are you guys excited? Because I sure am. And I've already been kind of what I've been teaching you as I was doing this webinar, I've already been kind of practicing everything that I'm going to be teaching you. So the real reason it feels so hard to put yourself on the calendar, it is not because you don't have willpower or discipline. It's not your schedule. And I know it's not your time, even though that's what we always say. It's not time. It's your thoughts. Okay, it's your thoughts. And most of us are walking around with these running scripts, these running sentences, thoughts in our heads that are keeping us stuck, that that have us over giving, that have us neglecting ourselves. And we don't even realize that these thoughts are optional. At no point in life has anyone ever taught us where our thoughts and our emotions come from and how to manage them. And that's why when I learned this tool that I'm going to teach you, I decided that I wanted to change careers, that I wanted to become a life coach because I wanted to teach all the women in my life this model. So when I tell you that I'm excited, when I tell you that I'm passionate about this, I really am because I have seen it in myself, in the women that I work with, how this self-coaching model will change you. So here's some common thought traps. And I want you to let me know in the chat. I'm going to try to see if I can get that chat going. Um, if anything sounds familiar, I'll figure out my stuff once the kids are settled. And this is how it sounds like for the women I work with throughout the year. I'll do it later. When it comes to taking care of you, to finding things for you, I will do it later. Tell me, how many of us have said that? I'll do it later. I'm just going to take care of the kids out and then we'll figure things out later. Right? Me. Yeah, Michelle, right? Um, this is what we do. And you know what does it lead? Later never comes. And now I've trained my brain as what every time my brain wants to offer that thought, I'll do it later. It's a sign for me to stop and do it now. Right? And this is how we start training our brains. I don't have time to think about myself right now. Right? This is very common with the mothers that I work with. Summer thought, I don't want the kids to be bored. I am guilt. Listen, this is me. This was me a couple years ago. To let me know, I don't want them to be bored. Right? The moment my brain offers this thought, I don't want the kids to be bored this summer. How many of you spent really boring summers growing up? Okay. My grandmother was Cuban. She was afraid of everything. So my summers all my life were in my grandmother's apartment, no air conditioning. There was no Netflix. Come on, I'm almost 50, right? It was cartoons in the morning, cartoons in the afternoon. I don't recall that part of my childhood. I don't know what I did. But I will tell you, she thought if I went outside, someone was going to kidnap me. So I survived and I'm happy and I don't remember. Okay. So don't worry about the kids being bored. I want to keep everyone happy. How many of us have that thought throughout the year? I just want my kids to be happy, right? I want them to have the best summer, right? I want them to have the best summer. So these thoughts sound very innocent, right? These don't sound like negative thoughts right? But they lead to certain actions from our part. So I kind of want to go through these thoughts, taking them one at a time. And if you have another thought, put them in the chat. Like these are your summer thoughts. I want to teach you how to reframe your thoughts with compassion, right? Because what happens, right? Once we can start reframing our thoughts and we become aware of what these thoughts create in our lives, that is where we can start shifting. That is where we can start changing our lives, right? So I want you to understand that we do not need more time, right? We just need more clarity in what we want and the permission to believe that we matter too. How often are we asking our kids, what do you want? Right? Probably every day. Like, what do you want? What do you want to do this summer? What do you want to do today? You know, what do you want to do this weekend? Right? Is that thought, does that question, what do you want? Does that sound familiar when it comes to the people in your lives? You asking that question. Now, when is the last time you asked that of yourself? What do I want? I want to pause right here. I want to see that in the chat. When's the last time you asked yourself what you wanted? Right? And that question, I want you guys to write it down. What do I want? And I want you practicing this question throughout your days, throughout your weeks. And it's one that I really ask myself on Sundays. Like, what do you want for you, Jeanette? Like, what do you want to create? Because it brings so much clarity. Because we also have this, I don't know. Moms are always telling me when it comes to you, and I ask a question, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And there's a lot of confusion when it comes to us, about our wants, because we are not asking that question, what do I want? So put that down as you're taking notes, because this is going to be a very powerful question for you. So someone said, as the school year ended this year, I realized that I needed to start putting myself and my health first. Yeah, right? But did you see how you said at the end of the year, right? Remember, it's always at the end, because we are givers to everybody. So how do we learn not to put ourselves on hold, right? Because time, there's 24 hours. So if we can reframe the way that we think about time, the way that we think about ourselves, we're going to be able to be consistent with this so that we're not waiting 18 years or until we retire to start thinking about ourselves. So here's some reframing examples, right? Our thought, I'll figure out my stuff once the kids are settled, right? Here's a reframe. And you can think about anything, right? I can make space for myself while I take care of them. I love this thought for moms. Can you believe that? I can make space for myself while I take care of them. At any stage, you guys, whether you're a toddler mom, because I've been talking to some toddler moms, she goes, oh my God, but imagine I have a toddler. I can't wait for it to get easier. I'm like, oh man, it is not gonna get easier, you guys. I have a middle schooler and I have a teenager in high school. Oh man, it is true. The bigger they get, the bigger the problems. So this is why I love this, because I want to teach this concept at all stages of motherhood. So I don't have time to think about myself right now. And just think about when I say that to yourself and think about how that makes you feel, right? It's worth 5 minutes a day to remember what I want, right? I know that this is a common thought. I don't have time, Jeanette. This is what the moms tell me. I don't have time to think about myself right now. Reframe. I'm worth 5 minutes because it doesn't take that long, right? Summer thought. I don't want them to be bored. Boredom is okay. We got to teach our kids to be bored, right? Boredom is okay, and so is my peace, because we also need some downtime, right? I want to keep everyone happy. I don't have to trade my happiness to keep the peace, right? I don't have to trade my happiness to make everyone happy. So I want them to have the best summer, right? That summer thought. The best summer includes a version of me that isn't running on empty. Isn't that a good one? The best summer includes a version of me that isn't running on empty. You can even say the best summer includes a version of me that's included, right? Can we believe that we can have fun this summer and include us? All right. Let me know. I'm going to keep looking at the chat. If you guys have any questions, I'll be looking at there. So, what do you actually want this summer? What do you want? And here's a journaling prompt. If this summer was designed for you, what would it look like? What would it feel like? Right? What would it look like? What would it feel like? So I'm reading here. A couple of months ago, I made the decision I needed to put myself first due to some health concerns. I had to make the decision to put myself first, which I never done in my life. Yeah, Alex. But here's the thing for all of us here. Let's not wait until there are health issues for us, right? Let's not wait. Let's not wait till we get to that point. And kind of going back, there's one thought that we have about our kids, and it starts like this: I have to. How often do we say that about our kids? I have to. I have to take them to practice. I have to make sure that they're in multiple sports. I have to do this project. I have to. But when it comes to us, I'll do it later. That is what I love kind of showing moms, that if we can borrow the thoughts that we have for our kids, for ourselves, we are going to create different results. We're going to start taking care of ourselves if we start saying, I got to take care of myself. I want to take care of myself. So, talk to me. What would summer look like? And I want to reiterate that we don't have to have this long hour routine. We don't have to conquer the world in one summer. But can we create something small for ourselves this summer? And I really want you to think about how you want to feel at the end of August. And when I was doing this presentation, I was thinking about when I wasn't a life coach and August would roll around and I was talking to my girlfriends and we were all like, we cannot wait for our kids to go back to school. We were so burned out. We finished the school year burned out, maybe like had 2 weeks of rest, if anything. And by the time school was running around, we were like, thank freaking God that the kids are going back to school because we were so exhausted. Does that sound familiar? Right? And that's what I want us to avoid, right? That exhaustion, because most of the time it's mental exhaustion, not so much physical. So, what do you want to feel in August? And for me, I can tell you, I want to feel joy. I want to feel peace, right? And I want to still have this new emotion that I'm working with, desire. So, anybody going to join me for some joy and some peace? Let me know in the comments right now. What is it that you want to feel? I'm really curious about this. I want to look back at the summer and be proud that I worked out. Yeah, that I got strong again, that I put myself first again, right? So I love that, and we're gonna make that happen, Michelle. We're gonna make that happen. I'm gonna show you the steps to doing that. So the self-coaching model. This is the model that if you guys follow me, I talk about it all the time. It's simple and it's a powerful way to understand how your thoughts are shaping your experience every single day. All our lives, we're blaming our circumstances. We blame our people. We blame work, our partners, our kids. We blame everything outside of ourselves. And after this workshop, I want you to understand that the only problems we have are thought problems. Okay? And this is the good news. Because if we can be aware of our thoughts and we can be intentional with our thinking, we can create something different in our lives. So, what is the self-coaching model? And please take a picture of this because it's going to take you a couple tries to kind of remember this. And this is 5 parts, right? Circumstances. These are the facts about your life. What is a fact and what is a story? The simplest way to say this is that a fact you can prove in a court of law. So if you're always like, man, this is really true, can you prove that in a court of law? And if you cannot prove that, guess what? That's a story. That is a thought that you have created. Circumstances are neutral. They are neutral. Most of it is outside of our control. We cannot control our past. We cannot control other people, by the way. Right? So, what are thoughts? These are just sentences your brain offers, right? These are sentences that our brain is constantly giving us about our circumstances. We've heard this a million times. We got 60,000 thoughts a day. And people say that we have $60,000, 60,000 thoughts a day, and nobody has ever taught us how to manage them. Here's the thing, most of it is unconscious, unintentional, and they're habits. They're habitual thoughts. It's thoughts that we have been believing over and over. And that's exactly what a belief is. Sentences that you have repeated over and over again. Okay, why do your thoughts matter? Because they create your feelings, your emotions and feelings, right? Same thing. Your emotions, your feelings are a vibration in the body that we experience. And where do they come from? Our thinking, right? All our lives, we're blaming. I am so mad at Susie. She said this and this and this. We blame our partners. Once again, we blame our kids. We blame time. So much of our feelings we have always blamed on our circumstances. And here's what the model teaches us. It is not our circumstances, it is the meaning, our thoughts, right? Our thoughts, the meaning that we give everything that is happening in our lives. And why do our emotions matter? Because they drive our action. The reason we do things or don't do things is because of the way that we feel. So all our lives we ignore our thinking and our feelings and we just focus on our action and we can't figure it out. Why can't I do that? Why do I quit? And when I worked in the fitness industry, I would only coach people from the action line. Here's a meal plan. Here's a fitness program. Go do it. They wouldn't start. They would invest money. They would quit. And I'm like, what the heck? What's the problem? You can do it. Go, go, go. Never did I ask, what are you feeling? And you know what they were feeling? They were feeling dread. They were insecure. What were you thinking? I can't do this. I always quit. Nothing is working. I'm a failure. Do you understand how hard it is to think that you're a failure? You have all this negative emotion. How long can you take action in your life? How long can you take consistent action? It's hard. And a lot of us do, right? Like a lot of us live in this negative state, right? Who knows this negative person that they never change? It's always the glass is half empty. And they do. They go through life. And I will tell you that this is the hardest way to take action. Everything is hard. Everything takes a long time, right? You got that negative Nelly glasses on. So once I learned this model, I was like, oh my God, this is where I coach from. How are you feeling? What are you thinking? Right? Because our results is the last one and they come from our actions. But ultimately, the results in your life are always going to be a reflection of your thinking. Your brain will give you evidence of what you believe. So, where does change begin in your life? It is not by changing jobs. It is not about getting rid of the husband, getting rid of the kids, thankfully, right? We can't get rid of those. But we are going to become aware of what we believe and what we feel. And this model is not to create a happy life. Don't get this wrong. Life is 50-50. Life, you're going to have 50% of your life is going to be negative emotion and 50% is going to be positive emotion. And why do we want that? We want to feel sad when bad things happen. We want to grieve. We want to feel negative emotion. We want to be able to process that. But you better believe that there are emotions that are useless. Overwhelm, worry. There are no upsides to that. Okay? That is what's draining us, those negative emotions that are optional. Okay? So, do we have any questions about this model? Do you want me to go again? And any questions, any clarity that you need on this model? Like I say, if you guys are in my inner circle, you know that I talk about this all the time. So, to reiterate, our thoughts create all the emotions that we're feeling. Our thoughts. Our feelings drive everything we do and don't do. And the actions in our lives are creating the results. If you do not like what you've created so far, whether it's the way that you feel, how your days are going, what you've been avoiding, it's not because of this. It's not your circumstances. It's what you are thinking about your circumstances, right? That is the aha. This is why I was like, oh my God. When I learned this model, I started teaching it. And actually, I wasn't even a life coach when I started teaching this. I was in the process. I was like, you guys got to learn this. So I started practicing with all my friends before I got certified with this model. So, what is an unintentional model? This is our current model, what we are in, what our current thoughts are. So, this is kind of what I love to start my clients on. Okay. And I'm going to walk you through an unintentional model. The circumstance, we're on summer break. If you have a thought that I don't want them to be bored, what emotion does that cause? Right? A lot of pressure, a lot of urgency. And what do we do? What do those emotions cause on our action line? We might start over planning our days, right? We start saying yes to everything because we have this pressure. I don't want the kids to be bored, so let's keep doing things. You put your needs last. You start resenting the schedule you created. Here's another one that I am seeing is that now we're putting kids in summer camps that we might not be able to afford because kids can't be at home with me, right? They'll get bored. So let me overcharge our credit cards to put them in all these camps for 8 weeks, right? And the result is, yeah, your kids might stay busy, yeah, but you really feel stretched, right? You feel stretched thin and you feel this disconnection. And by the way, the kids might still be bored and the kids still might complain, right? Has anybody kind of felt this already? This pressure to curate this perfect summer for our kids? I'm kind of curious about this one, right? Because I've been talking to moms, right? Like, well, what's the best camp, right? Do you feel that pressure? Do you have that thought? I don't want our kids to be bored. So how do we take this, right? This unintentional model, and how do we create now with intention, with clarity, some new thoughts and some new emotions, right? Circumstances don't change. Summer break, right? But our thoughts can, right? It's okay for them to be bored and for me to have space too, right? It's okay to have some downtime. We don't have to plan the whole day, right? Because now we feel grounded, we feel at peace. And now we build in the schedule unstructured time, right? We let kids be kids. We let kids go outside and figure it out, right? Planning one thing, maybe something a couple times a week, and the rest, we're not planning. And now you feel more at peace. And your kids learn that they don't need to be constantly entertained, right? Right? And Michelle's like, I did this when my girls were younger. I had 100 things planned for them. You guys, I did this too, right? I have a whole garden, right? A whole thing of paint and crafts. And I went to Michael's and spent all this money. Like my kid is 16 and 12, and I still have those crafts because in my head, we were gonna plan we were gonna be painting. I was gonna be looking at Pinterest and doing all these crazy things. Right? So now my nieces that are a lot younger, they come in here and they want to go to the box and they want to paint with me because I have all these things because I wanted to have every minute planned out of the summer. We're not doing that. We're not doing that unless you want to, right? Unless you want to, because it brings you joy and it's fun, not because you don't want your kids to be bored and not because you have to. All right? So moving along. So, how do we create something for you this summer? And I want you to understand that this is how I plan everything I want to create. If I want to, like, even this workshop, these are my steps of doing um anything that I want to do. So we're gonna pick one thing. Have you guys already thought about it? I am playing pickleball. That is what I am creating this summer. My first pickleball is tomorrow, Thursday. Um, so Monica, as a homeschool mom, I don't feel that the summer is different for us. Okay, makes sense. Uh, but I do have more pressure planning around the weather, especially if you live in Florida, right? Um, So this can work for you, Monica, throughout the whole year, right? Like, how do you fit yourself in the schedule as a homeschooling mom? So we're going to pick one thing. We are going to build an intentional model. Why? If we want to take action, we're going to tackle the way that we feel and the way that we think. So we are taking massive action, creating the results that we want, right? And this really, really helps me to do the things that are really difficult, the things that I don't want to do. And the moment, and obviously I'm a life coach, so this tool I really know how to use really well. When there's something that I'm procrastinating, I kind of stop and I'm like, okay, what are these thoughts that I'm thinking? And it's usually all negative, right? Like, this is going to be so hard. I'm going to get stuck. I don't know how to do this. And there's a lot of confusion, and I don't know do not lead to creating results. So you guys know if you're in me in these workshops or do one-on-one coaching, I don't know is not allowed in my sessions. Um, okay, so once we create the intentional model, I'm going to show you how to get it done step by step. And I promise you, this is what I did for this workshop. The things that I want to create, this is my framework. So what's one thing you're going to do? Okay. Let me give you some ideas. Okay. So read a book. I'm actually also going to do this, right? Um, Reading a book, I don't get to read for pleasure. I always read like all these personal development books. So I already got my book actually. So I've started to read. Taking a 10 or 20-minute walk daily, right? Now that maybe you don't have to get the kids to school so early. And listen, 10 minutes count. We don't have to be carving out hours to take care of ourselves. Join a local pickleball like I am. Sit outside. Maybe it's just like, man, I want to have my morning coffee, listening to the birds out there without my phone. Sign up for a weekend yoga fitness class. Try a hobby you used to love doing, right? Do people still scrapbook? Because I had friends who loved to scrapbook, right? How about going to lunch by yourself or on a coffee date with your husband once a week, once a month? Creating a little morning routine or a night ritual that's just for you that you can enjoy. Maybe doing some decluttering so you have a little more space for yourself. Going to the bookstore or library and staying there a while, just you by yourself. Visiting a farmer's market. Maybe you're going to start gardening. I don't know. There's a million ideas, right? Don't overthink it and don't think it has to be this huge production. It can be really, really small. Something that you used to do that you miss. And for me, literally, like reading a book, that's not like a learning book, it's huge for me. So, oh, Monica's like, I'm trying out new free workouts around town. Yes, I've done Pilates and weight training so far. That is freaking amazing, right? And yes, it doesn't have to cost money, you guys. Things don't have to cost money. So who else? We got three other people here. What are you gonna? I want you guys to pick something. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Michelle said she was gonna work out. Alex, have you thought of anything that you want to do for yourself? We'll think about it, but don't overthink. All right. So intentional model, summer, right? What do, what's going to be the thought that you're going to create to follow through? And I love talking about thoughts as try them on. A thought that works for me might not work for you. So whatever thought that you have, I want you to believe it today. So can you believe I can create time for me too? This is my break too. I can have fun too. I matter this summer. These are some of the ones that I want to use. And think about it. How do you feel? Right? Like, how do you feel? Oh, Monica's like, I find all these free wellness classes on Eventbrite. Yeah, if anybody's interested, I love that. So, how do you want to feel? Right? Motivated, determined, empowered. Because when you feel that way and when you are thinking with intentions, now you show up, you communicate to your family, like, hey, this is what I want to do. And you start following through. Right? My son already, he's in soccer summer camp and he already wanted me tomorrow to take him after the summer camp to go to another park to play more soccer with his friends. And I was like, oh no, playing pickleball. Sorry. We'll try again, but not today. Right? So when you have these awesome thoughts and you have these emotions that drive action, you start creating things for yourself, right? You start creating things for yourself. Alex is gonna work out and have alone time. Yes, my God, alone time is awesome. We don't, I remember those early stages, we didn't have a lot of that time to ourselves. Okay? So, do you understand what's unintentional? These are the thoughts that are not serving us, the emotions, the actions that we've been doing that we no longer want to do. This intentional model that we're like, this is what we're going to create. This is what we have to do. What am I going to feel and what am I going to think? Right? We're not changing the circumstance. It's still summer. We still have our kids. We still have jobs. We're going to think and feel differently. Questions, thoughts so far. So, how to get it done? Once again, this is the format that I use to get things done in my life. So what are we going to do? Right? We've already said it. We're going to work out. We're going to get some alone time. Here's the second question. Why do you want it? Why is this question really important? Our brains love our default thinking. Our brains love to repeat our same thinking, our same thoughts, which is, I don't have time. Kids come first. I gotta do this, gotta do that. I'll do it later. So when I'm telling my brain, this is why I'm going to do this, I matter. I wanna have some fun. I wanna create something for myself. Now you shift your brain. Now you start creating this desire and you remind your brain, I'm putting myself first. And your why, it's not something that you just think in the beginning of the summer. Like literally, I set alarms. That's how I create habits for myself. I set alarms. And I have a morning alarm that has a message for me, right? Why Wednesdays? On Wednesdays is when I journal about my why. It's midweek, right? I'm a little bit more tired. I remember, got to my brain, this is what we're doing. And why am I going to do it no matter what? Why is this really important? An accountability partner. So pickleball, I had already called my friend Amy, like, this is what I want to do. Do you want to do it with me? So get an accountability partner. And it could be listen, I used to, my kids, I had this goal and I told my daughter, like, every week, I want you to ask me about this goal. So it could be your kids too. How do you need to feel to show up? Let's go back to that intentional model, right? And I said this earlier, one of the emotions that I'm working on is desire, right? I was listening to my life coach and I had never thought about that emotion until I was listening to her and I'm like, oh yeah, I love that. I love that. And when I'm very clear on my why, it does create that emotion of desire. So what thoughts are going to create that feeling? If you say, man, I want to feel committed. What's going to be that belief plan? What do you have to be telling yourself? And I always call this like, what do you have to brainwash yourself with? And for me lately, it's like, I want to. I want to take care of myself. I want to have fun. So once you get this, what is all the little things that you need to do to follow through? So for me, I called my friend up. I set an alarm. I put it on my schedule. What are all the little things? Do you guys need to get babysitting? Do you need to have a backup plan for your babysitter? Right? What are going to be the things, all those steps? Because usually we only think what, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And we just kind of not, we don't go through this. But this is how you're going to follow through. We're already looking for obstacles before they happen. What can get in the way? Our kids, right? What can get in the way? Time, you ran out of time. What are the other things that can get in the way? Because if ahead of time you're able to plan for the obstacles with strategies, because that's the next step. What are the strategies that you can come up with when it does? Because life happens. Can you have some time scheduled later on in the week just in case something happens? Can you have a backup plan to your babysitter? Right? Pickleball. If I had a little kid, can they go in the stroller while I play? For moms, it's really interesting when it comes to working out. Why can't we put the kids in a stroller or in the playpen and watch them and they can watch us work out? To this day, my daughter tells me, I remember you coming into my bedroom and working out. And that's exactly when I would do it. She remembers me, her in the crib, first thing in the morning, and me working out. And I promise you, your kids will get used to this. Your kids will get used to this. So Monica's like, I schedule my free classes on my husband's days off. Perfect, right? Because you don't have childcare. That's awesome. And by the way, if you can find a village, of moms that you trade, I'll take care of your kid on this day. If you can take care of my kid this way, and that way we trade off. And that's actually what I did this week. I had another mom take Luca after summer camp, and then I'm going to do it tomorrow, right? And we trade off. And sometimes, you guys, that feels really uncomfortable for moms to ask for help. That takes courage. So maybe that's one of your emotions that you're going to start using: courage, discomfort, right? Discomfort and courage feel awful, but those emotions are very useful, right? Getting out of your comfort zone and asking for help, right? How many moms believe that I should figure this out because I'm the mom, right? It's my responsibility. I should be able to figure this out. And we try to take all this on our own, and it doesn't have to be that way, right? So schedule it, ladies. I always tell you, if you want something done, schedule it like you would your kid's doctor's appointment. If it's not in the schedule, then you're really making it just optional. All right, does this make sense? You kind of like this? Take a picture of this. And when I say that this is my step to creating big things in my life. This is exactly what I do. So going back to this, and I'll keep really saying this over and over again, because one of my biggest thoughts before, and the mom thoughts that I hear all the time, is I don't have time. And I promise you, it's not time you need more of. It's clarity in what you want and the right thoughts to support yourself. Okay? What is it that you want and what you need to believe to follow through? And how do I know this to be true? Because no matter how busy you are, you get a call from school and you get more responsibility added to your plate by the teacher or by your child. You're like, okay, yeah, I'll get it done. I'll get it done. And there's always, since I was in the fitness industry, there was a thought that this mom had. For years, I was working with her. The only time we can figure out her to work out was in the morning, and she couldn't do it. I am not a morning person, Jeanette. That was her thought. I'm not a morning person. Okay, man. Guess what happened? Her son he was a really good baseball player. Really, really good baseball player. Guess what time for 2 years she had to wake up to get him to practice at 5 o'clock in the morning? Okay? Conditioning started. She had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do drop off at 6 a.m. She changed her thought. She was no longer, I'm not a morning person. I have to wake up and get my kid at practice, right? So she changed her thought because it was for her kid. The moment the kid started driving, she stopped waking up. 2 years. She got used to waking up early. She was never able to do it for herself because I want to and I have to wake up for me. She never had that thought for herself. She only had it for her child. That is the power of our thoughts. So we've decided what's that one thing you're going to say yes to for you. We're going to work out. We're going to get some alone time. Really important. Do not skip this part, right? What are those beliefs that you're choosing with intention, that you're going to be practicing, that you are going to have post-it notes? And I always look at my board because this is where like I put my belief plan. So when I sit here, I look up brainwashing, telling my brain, cueing my brain, because our brain has gotten used to a lot of thoughts that are no longer useful for us. So we have to stop believing them and replacing them with new thoughts. And this is where the work. I say this very easy and it's very like, oh yeah, this is so simple. It's not. This takes work. This takes energy. And our brain hates to try new things because it doesn't want to waste energy. It doesn't, this is going to take more energy now to create these new thoughts, to follow through. So be prepared for your brain to give you resistance and for your brain to want to go back to your old habits of putting yourself last, to that old habitual thinking of, I don't have time. I'm just warning you, do not be surprised. It's not you, it's your brain and the way it's been built. So, do we have any questions, right? Do you have any aha moments that you're like, okay, okay, In the chat, write it down. Anything that there's a big takeaway, a big aha moment. I know that a lot of you have already started using this framework that I've been teaching you. Is there one thought that you really want to start believing? Okay. Michelle, I love this. Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for coming because I promise you that if you can do this day in and day out, this is a tool that is going to give you your power back. Why? Because you're not blaming anything else. There's nothing outside of you, right? It's all internal. And you can control that with this model. And I know sometimes if you're listening to this recording and you want to shoot me an email about a thought or about a question, please do so and I can address it. So I want you to know this, and this is really important, is that the emotions that we've been carrying, whether it's guilt or shame or overwhelm or stress, this isn't proof that something is wrong. It really isn't. They're just signals that we have these thoughts that we've been believing that we probably didn't even know that we had, right? 60,000 thoughts. Most of them are repetitive. We have never questioned them. We just believe them. And with this tool now, you get to ask yourself, is this thought useful? That's one of my favorite questions to ask myself. Is this thought that I'm believing, is it really useful for the life that I want to create? Because if it's not, why not change it? Right? Why not change it? Um, and now that you have this awareness and now that you have this tool, this is where the change starts to happen. This is where the work starts to happen. And I've seen it in me and I've seen it with the women that I coach. It is awesome to see what you can create when you start living consciously, when you start living intentionally, right? With what you're thinking and what you're believing. And remember, nothing's gone wrong if your old thoughts come back. From a place of curiosity, I'm like, here it is again. And I literally have this conversation with my brain. I'm not believing that anymore. I know that we used to think that, but this is what we're going to believe. So that's really important that you write down your new belief system, what you want to start believing. Because that brain of yours is going to take you back and it wants to keep you back there because it's easier. So, are you ready to create a different result in your life this summer? And like I say, I did this in the summer just because we might have a little bit more time, but this is not just a summer project. You are not a summer project, right? We're not waiting 18 years until our kids leave. I want you to be part of your calendar throughout your motherhood journey at all stages, right? And if you're ready to begin your life, to live this life intentionally, right? If you want to feel happier, empowered, and in control of your life, yeah, right? I want you to know that, you don't have to go at this alone. You don't have to figure this out by yourself. And this is what I do with my one-on-one coach clients, right? We really take what we learned and we really go in and we dig deeper. So if this resonated with you, like, my God, I think that this model can change my life, and you want to start applying it on the daily, book a discovery call with me. There's no pressure. Okay, we're going to talk about what you want. We're going to talk about what is getting in the way of you creating what you want to create. And we can figure out if maybe coaching is a right fit for you or not, because you deserve to be happy. You deserve to feel supported. And you don't have to do it on your own. One last thing before we leave. And I'll open the floor if you want to get some coaching. July 22nd, that week, I'm going to do Get Coached Week. This is a week of intense coaching. I teach you how to journal. We're going to go through this model one lesson at a time. And every day, I'm going to show you how to ask yourself some questions to be more intentional and to be more aware. So put that in your calendar. I will be sending a lot of information on this, and it is a week. It's always recorded. We're going to have a Facebook group where I go in there and do a lot of coaching. So Thank you guys for coming, for listening to this recording. You can follow me at Jeanette_Maseda. I talk about life coaching all the time. This is my email, but really quick, I do want to open up the floor. If you, do you have any questions? Do you need any clarification on this model? Can you see how you can start using this and changing your life? Monica, Michelle have really, you've listened to this. You guys, are you using it though? So here's the thing, are you using it? Because it's easy to use it when we're feeling good, but when we feel all this negative emotion is when I encourage you to use it the most. When you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you don't have time, create the time to kind of slow it down and be like, okay, what am I thinking?
The one that has always helped me since the first time you taught me this was that thought, like, is this something true? Like, could it be proven in a court of law, or is it like my brain spiraling? That one has always helped me so much.
Yeah, because it gives you so much perspective because you're like, oh shit, if it's not a fact, then I created this, then I can change it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's what this is how you get your power back. You're like, oh shit, it's me, it says. Right? And that's
Okay.
why affirmations don't work because we're not addressing the underlying thought. So you can look in the mirror and be like, I'm powerful, I am skinny, I am good. And your brain is like, are you crazy? Right? And I think being in the fitness industry, I was like, I've been doing all this so wrong. Like I kind of felt like shit, I sucked. Right? And I feel like I failed, but I didn't know this tool, right? Because I was so frustrated. I'm like, go read a book. And once again, you can read a book, and I read every day. And if it motivates you, but it still doesn't address why you feel the way that you do, and it doesn't address all your thoughts. And this is what I love about Get Coach Week is that we're gonna go into a lot of thoughts that we have been taught, right? By our family, by religion. And it's awesome if you grew up in a great house, in a supportive house. But that's not the case for a lot of us. And there's a lot of things our parents told us that we've been carrying that we need to let go of because it's just a bunch of BS, right? There's a lot of religions that tell you that you are not deserving, that you're not worthy. Oh my God. Right? So there's a lot of us carrying this unworthiness, this idea that we have to prove our worth. And none of that is true. That where's worth and where's that feeling of, deserving in here? It's all feelings. And it's not created by our circumstance, it's created by what we believe about ourselves, right? That we are deserving of amazing things and we're worthy of a beautiful life because we believe it. We choose to believe that with intention. No one can give that to us. No one can tell us that. We can't work for that. We have to believe it. So, all right, guys, I got it at 8:57, an hour. Thank you guys for coming. I so appreciate you. I'm going to send you the recording if you feel that you have a bestie, a mom that this can really change her life. Please send her the recording and join me on July 22nd for Get Coached Week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.